Well, everybody, welcome to the first hour. I am the ghost, the one and only, and we're going to change it up a little bit today. Normally, our wonderful, beautiful, sensual southern voice of Cal is normally
Oh.
doing the intro, but today we're actually going to interview him on a game that he stepped into here a little bit.
And I got a lot to say.
Just give you a little bit. Yeah, I know you do, because here's the thing, people, that you don't know is Cal's not really played a Souls game. Souls-like with Remnant 2, but we got him into Elden Ring, people, and we're going to dive into it a little bit. Cal, it took you a while to get into the game, right? Obviously, to get into the game.
Yes.
But how do you feel when you first came through that opening dungeon and those doors opened and you saw that first map?
Lost.
Walk me through it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Lost. Okay, so the game visually is gorgeous. You know, you push open those double doors, you see Lingrave for the first time. It's frankly overwhelming. You see nothing but these beautiful landscapes of rolling hills and trees. A castle front sits on the horizon with towers that seem to stretch into the heavens themselves. And then you got this big ass tree.
Big ass horse over there.
Big ass golden ass tree that just superimposed over the whole scene. And then you got this guy with a white mask just looking at me. I'm looking at him. I'm going up to him expecting him to like guide me and tell me what I need to do. He just gives me some just obscure sentence. I'm like, okay, so where do I go from here? Like the game, I don't do well in these settings when the game just doesn't give me anything. This is very similar to the way Zelda works too. I could not get into any of the new Zelda games that came out because I'm like, I don't know where to go. Like there's no leveling system, so I don't know if I'm supposed to be going over here. Am I going the right way? Am I going to mess up a cutscene or anything like that? Mess up the storyline somehow by going over here and talking to this person? I have no idea. And I felt the same way about Elden Ring. And I do... Go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that's so funny because it's the first open world one that they've had. And at the same time, I feel like it's the most accessible to new players as well. Yeah.
Well... What's really funny about it is I actually bought the game for my birthday, and of course, if you've ever played with Cal at all, you always hear a famous "ew" that normally happens. But he goes, "Why are you playing that?" And he heard this frustration on my voice for weeks trying to figure this out. I ran around Limgrave for a good 10 hours without realizing there was torrent and how to get him.
Oh my god!
I think that is just frustrating.
10 hours.
10 hours. 10 hours and 3 restarts to try and figure this out.
You didn't follow the P stream through the sky?
X, you are a beautiful individual. No, I didn't do any of that.
Okay.
They told me where I needed to go, but there is nothing on the map that comes up on your HUD that says you need to go here, or even like Ghost of Tsushima where you swipe the kind of touchpad and the breeze will come and like figure that out for you. No,
Hey,
you gotta figure it out. And then you end up in a cave.
Context about Ghost is that all he has played for like years is just racing game. Like that's it.
That's kind of messed up.
Where literally you just have a track and there's nowhere else you can go.
Yes,
guys, this feels like an attack. Everybody needs to calm down.
I have been like holding his hand, like guiding him through these new experiences. Because what else have I dragged you into?
Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima. GTA was just another one. Told him how to play the game correctly, and then we got on Division. Taught him that he wasn't really done with the game there.
You're just upset because I was wearing capris. Relax. Everything's fine now. But it was my first real kind of take at a single player game. Just really trying to go at it and figure things out.
Yeah.
Which, the bad thing about the game, no, not at all. And I think something that at least in my opinion, that I was trying to sell you on, and I'm actually interested about this, because you mentioned it on our kind of talk that we just had, immersion. And the game does a really good job with immersion if you let it, with like as many NPC side quests that there are. So for somebody like you that's never played one, did that capture you or did they miss the mark?
I don't like the way that the people are, like the NPCs are set up in the game, and then like they're giving me something really obscure, like that one guy said that my castle has been overrun, I need you to take it back. Okay, brother, I would love to help you, honestly. That's what I'm here for. Apparently that's what the game is telling me. But I need you to point in the general direction as to where your castle is at. I mean,
no, none of that.
like, I'm gonna ride over here a little bit, and you could just yell out to me, like, is it over here? Like, is it over there somewhere? Because I'll let you know right now, I do not like that style of gameplay at all. That does not capture me whatsoever. I do not feel immersed. I feel lost. Like that's it. That's the only.
I can see that. I can see that for quests, like actual quests.
Well,
it's not like Ubisoft. They don't give you like a compass and then 16 markers. They just random guy hands you like a knife and he's like "Mihoy minoi," and you're like, "What?"
Exactly.
Yeah, but
or
the thing they don't tell you is doing certain things out of order screws up other quest lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like messing up. Like, I like to complete things. I like to take the game slow a lot of the times. Like, I'm trying to listen to every conversation. Like, God of War is like one of my favorite games of all time. Like,
Diablo. Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, I'm trying to. And not only that, like, I know there's a ton of lore in this game, and I love good lore. I love good story. Lord of the Rings, Star Wars used to be good, but I just feel like me trying to pick up pieces of the story as I go just doesn't work for me. When it comes to story, I prefer a more linear experience. I don't want to get story from this character. I come back over here, you're talking about something I don't even know about. What are you talking about? The Death Eater? Who is that? And then like 30 hours later, I might meet the Death Eater, and by the time I meet him, I done forgot I done forgot that you were even mentioned previously.
Yeah,
I don't like
tough.
trying to piece a puzzle together of story. I don't like that. This is a game design that is not made for me. Like, I can see that this game was made with love and somebody took their time and effort. I can see that a lot of time and effort was put into the story, the weapons, the gameplay. But I can tell you right now, from here until the end of time, this will be my last Souls game. I have tried to get into every single one, and now I know after getting into Elden Ring, after it being, marketed as the most accessible, it is the combat that makes me not want to play this game.
Oh, really?
Ghost shows me all these weapons, and I'm like, man, that looks cool. Like, I love the design of that weapon. Like, and then, like, you know what? I still have to deal with this combat that I don't really like. One thing that'll throw me off in any game is when I feel like the controls are not fluid. Like, when I'm getting attacked by multiple, like, say in God of War, the camera always sits third person over his shoulder. There's also just a little bit of like little indicator. There's like a little radar meter that indicates that somebody's about to attack you from behind. So you have to turn in the direction of that enemy. But also there's call outs from like the other characters in the game, like, hey, behind you, stuff like that. So there's actually like, the combat feels alive in God of War while I'm fighting. Like, it just does not just feels like me fighting another object. Like, there's still great music happening in the combat itself, but one thing I feel like I put God of War's combat even over stuff like Devil May Cry and Batman Arkham Knight. Like, God of War is my favorite combat system of all time. I don't like having to lock on to different enemies while I'm playing, switching between the two. I don't like having to walk away from certain enemies because I know this other guy's going to try and flank me, and then I got to focus on him and keep moving around this section. I like to play aggressive, and I don't have the time to try and fiddle with a lock-on system as I'm trying to play. I would prefer there be a system where if I swing in that direction, if I point the stick in that direction, I swing, that's where I'm gonna hit. But it just seems like the main focus of the game is for me to have to lock on to a character and constantly switch between which one is coming at me.
I would say for groups of enemies, it's better to not lock on, depending on what weapon you're using.
Yeah,
Whereas
but
a boss,
also the way the game's set up, though, and I absolutely agree. But some of this you need to lock on. But the problem is you're going to get off screen by something that you need to be able to move free. So something like Ghost of Tsushima, where you can seamlessly transition to one combative to another, this doesn't do that. You need to focus on one, and that's not exactly a great combat system.
And I understand some people. Another thing about God of War's combat is every movement is flowing. Even if I dodge forward, there is a combo set up for Kratos when I dodge forward. There's a different axe swing depending on which direction that I'm moving. So the entire time that I'm fighting these people, regardless of if I'm getting my ass kicked or not, I am having the most fun of my life because I'm switching between 3 different weapons that can all combo with one another. The axe can freeze, it can recall, I can throw it, it can come back, and as it's coming back, it can hit. I have a spear that can I can stab into enemies and then I can tap the ground, they explode, which causes another combat string. And not only that, another thing that was messing me up about the camera is that on Elden Ring, as I'm focused on the enemy, it's tilted a little bit down. So I can't really look out a little bit. Like the whole time I'm fighting with the camera, I'm like, let me look up so I can see if there's any other dogs about to attack me. But this combat is not for me. Like I feel like sometimes when I'm looking at people getting excited about this game, I'm like, y'all really like the combat this much? Because regardless of, I see some gameplay of, some people have like memorized the bosses
the movesets that they have, or their cadence that they attack at.
Exactly. So they memorize this boss so well that they can even fight. They're not even being hit at all. That's impressive, obviously. But at the same time, it's not like I'm not wowed by that. Like I'm not blown away by like what's happening on screen at all. It would be different if somebody was showing me Devil May Cry and they are just like switching between different combo strings and like meshing all of this stuff together. It just looks great. It's great to look at just visually. It's nice to see what's happening. Their combat system, like regardless of how good their hitboxes are, how good the weapons are, I even like the incantations. I love how you have to channel magic through specific wands and stuff like that, and how the incantations are like meshed with seals. I think they call it seals. And like to actually,
they're seals.
Yeah, to actually use those, you have to actually have that in your hand. I think that is so cool. I like how you can call spirits. It's an actual bell that you have to ring. Everything is immersed.
The summons.
Yeah, everything is immersed in the world. But the combat, I just don't care. Like, I can't even force myself to care.
I think the one thing that I ran into that kind of bothered me, I mean, to a degree, because that was really my first time playing the game. A lot of like your great swords and curved swords or whatever kind of melee weapon you want to use, they're really copy and pasting the moveset. So if you use a twin bladed pole blade or whatever, you can use 3 or 4 different ones and it's the exact same moveset.
Yes.
Except for like maybe a charge heavy is slightly different. So there's no real customizing other than you putting different on Ashes of War. Though there are a lot of Ashes of War, but with this type of thing, there's a meta that everyone really just kind of runs to, and there really is no customization past that, which kind of sucks.
Going back to the Ashes of War, one thing, like the Sword of Night and Flame, the wind up to like use that. Okay, for example, you have to stand still and use that, obviously, because that's part of the game design. It's like you're taking a high risk to use that, but it also does high damage. Or you can just get smacked in the middle of it. I understand that, but
well, it's also tough because it's based off your poise too. So if you have low poise, they're gonna knock you out of that, and you've already used the mana or whatever it is that you need to use that anyways. That's
a lot of risk to use that. I can literally get on God of War, and as I'm running, like you can charge up the axe. The Leviathan axe has frost on it. As I'm running, I can charge up frost as I'm going towards this. Like I feel like a behemoth when I'm fighting in God of War. I feel like Kratos when I'm fighting in God of War. And like I can unleash charged up attacks. Also, oh my god. When you swing in an Elden Ring, you have to commit. Like
Yep,
you have to
absolutely.
be very accurate. As you have to be, you can't just go in and start swinging. You have to get a few swings here, back off a little bit, let him do his thing, go back in there, get you a couple of swings. I'm bored. I'm sorry, I'm bored already.
Yeah.
That's just, I like combat that is pressuring me constantly, like to the fact that I can get in a couple of swings. And also in God of War, you can actually like if you, they have move sets that are considered unblockable. So when the character's about to attack you, there'll be like a red indication that pops up like, hey, you might want to dodge from this. But if you can actually brute force that and actually cancel that if you hit with another charged up attack. But it's just stuff like that where like if you know, like you can just still fight extremely aggressive. I just can't do that on Elden Ring. Like I don't.
So you're saying it's too slow, methodical.
Yes, I do not like that.
You like the flashy shonen combat.
Game.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not pushing the narrative on this at all. It actually rewards you if you're not going to do the meta and try to do like high DPS and like one shot everything. The game actually rewards you for stepping back out of a fight and then re-engaging. Like the game will actually brutalize you for engaging too much.
Yeah, the game wasn't made for me. That's not the type of combat. That's why I'm turned off by any game. I couldn't even finish Star Wars Jedi. I was so pissed when they put that mechanic. I'm like, I don't want to do this, bro.
You finished Bloodborne though, yeah?
No, never did.
No? Oh, I thought you did.
No, I haven't finished a single Souls game.
Oh, okay.
It's a surprise that I got through Jedi, the first one, but I did not finish.
Honestly, I think Jedi combat's much worse. That's just my opinion.
Really? Why you say that?
I don't know. I hated it. I don't know how to describe it.
I just like. I don't.
It's been a while since I played it, so maybe if I got a refresher, I could tell you. But
they should have.
I dropped it so fast.
They should have went with a different combat system because I just like you're getting shot at with stormtroopers and like it was I didn't like it at all. Story was good, but combat, no. So I will not be returning back to Elden Ring. I can see this game. I can appreciate this game from afar. Like I'm glad that you guys have something to love and to play, but I can no longer get excited with y'all.
Fair.
I'm glad y'all getting the DLC though.
Oh.
I was saying it's the most accessible to me because you can go wherever. So if you run into something that's too difficult, as far as difficulty wise, you can just go somewhere else. Generally speaking.
Yeah.
Level up, fight something else, find a mini boss hidden in a hole somewhere.
And see, that's another thing. That's a mental thing with me because if I find something like a boss or something, I'm not leaving until you're dead. Like,
well, then you just got to get good, get naked, get the fist out, and punch for an hour
but the
straight.
problem is that some of that stuff you run into, you run around and run into a Crucible Knight too early. Yeah, there's nothing you can do about that. I don't even think you even ran into a Crucible Knight in your playthrough, but they are absolutely unforgiving in the beginning of the game. Like, you're just not built for taking on a tank within the first couple of hours of the game.
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't made for me. It was made for people who like slower combat, who like methodical, And
that's fine. That's what I was saying. We don't need to appeal to the broad audience.
Yeah, exactly.
The people who like it love it, and the people who don't. I feel like that's fine.
There's some great parts about it, but there's some definite tough spots too, for sure.
I could see why if you're not used to the kind of gameplay, how that could definitely be very off-putting, especially the story. I already knew that because I'd played previous Souls games. I didn't even bother really engaging with the story beyond surface level. I was just like enjoying the combat and exploring everywhere.
And see, that's another thing. Like, I would love to. There's obviously so much baked into this game. And I would love for like them just to make a series on Netflix, animated series like Castlevania. Just do an Elden Ring series. I'll watch the hell out of that. These characters look so interesting.
It'd be amazing.
These characters are designed so intricately. They look so unique. Also, there's another thing I want. There is a lot of intimacy in this game, regardless of how brutal it is. First of all, the girl that comes talking to you softly after you go sit next to the fire, she's like, "Put your hand in mine," or some shit like that. I was like, "Yes, ma'am, of course."
Oh my!
And then when I get to the what's that place, the round table? I don't forgot what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, that's it.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and you go and talk to Fia, and she gives you a blessing. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna come in here and talk to you. And then like my character,
You're just gonna try and put your head on her shoulder all the
time. He gets on his knees. I was like, what are you doing? You just met this lady.
Yeah, I remember
she's giving out hugs.
When people first figured out that it's like you get a debuff from it for your health, and people were like, I don't care. I hug her every day.
I was like, yeah, it's warm here. I don't want to leave. Like, she talks so softly and so sweetly. I was like,
yeah,
yes,
I feel like they do that. Every Souls game does that with like they have like an ethereal quality to all the voices.
Yeah.
Especially the females. It's insane. It's been like that in all the games that I've played.
But yeah, that's what I think. I think I'm done. Any game that has Souls like, no. It will not be. And that's good. I'm glad that.
You know what? I'm glad you said that. We're going to pivot this last thing, because now I want to know, because you said Souls like. Now this is where it's a valid question. Just hear me out. Because Souls like, Remnant 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Now they are scheduled to have a couple more DLCs. You did pump 100 hours into this pretty quickly and drug me and X through this in a very quick pace.
Souls like.
So are you saying? Yeah, it's Souls like. So what is the chances of somebody that doesn't really like Elden Ring like you do right now to jump back into Remnant on the next DLC?
The reason why I play Remnant is because
here we go.
You switched with me. It's different when I have a weapon in my hand, a melee weapon in my like I have like have any of you played God of War? I keep going back to this game, but I need somebody to understand with me. Has anybody played God of War?
I've played some of it.
Okay. Well,
no, every time I tell you I have it on my PlayStation and I haven't played it, you badger me and tell me how bad of a gamer I am.
Well,
no, he would never.
I would never do that. That doesn't even sound like me. Just telling lies.
Never.
But you have guns in Remnant. That's the difference. I have different specific. I have weapons. I can aim. I don't have to, focus on, hitting any. Like, there's melee weapons in there, but it's not like I'm getting bombarded and the only thing I have is a melee weapon. I can shoot you. I can shoot you from a distance, and also I don't have to lock on to you. I do the manual locking on. I got sticks for that. I'm not missing. I was using a bow and arrow for most of that, and once I got it. I don't care about that. I'm fine with that. But when it comes to my melee,
okay,
yeah, no, you got to be on point. It's gonna have to be like Shadow of War, or it's gonna have to be Spider-Man. That's another combat system. That's a very simple combat system. But if it's not like Devil May Cry or God of War, I don't want to see it. Sorry. That's my 2 cents.
All right.
You know what I don't like?
You heard it live. Been waiting on this for a couple of weeks now. Oh my God. Go ahead.
Is how feral this fan base goes when you say, "Oh, I don't like that about the game." I'm sorry. Do you have stocks in this? Like, were you on the team when they were making this game? Like, this fan base acts like you can't like make a critique about or say you don't like something. Like, I understand this game means a lot to you. It might have helped you in a tough time in your life. But that has nothing to do with me. Like, I don't like the combat. Just suck it up. If people say they don't like something, just get over it. Sorry. It just happens. It's called life. It's like I was watching some video the other day where somebody in the comments, I think it was on IGN or something like that, but they were reviewing a game. And in the comments, somebody was like, he's critiquing He's just criticizing the game. This isn't a proper review. I'm sorry. What do you think review means? Like, if he were not critiquing the game, then what would it be really called a review at that point? He would just be glazing. They would just say glaze. I don't understand. I'm not going to get into it. I felt like a rant coming up, and I will not be triggered by it. But
I almost want to just set it off and let you go. Just wind you up and let you go.
yeah, that's all I have to say for it.
Well,
great game. I'm glad you guys get to enjoy it.
Fine.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm glad you got to enjoy it for a little bit and gave us that gem of the last few minutes of that rant. That was absolutely fantastic. So final thoughts? Cal, final thoughts?
No, I don't have anything else. I think I got everything else.
X, final thoughts?
Seems like a skill issue to me. Get good. I don't know what.
We're gonna leave it with that. Get good, people. Just get good. That's what we're gonna take away from this. I'm gonna cut this off because this is going on way too long. Get good. Like, subscribe, drop a comment. Let us know how we can get better. And that's the end of this. Yeah, it's all, listen, man. We got enough time of this. It's over. Bye.
Bye.